Hey everyone, I'm Matt and welcome to the second episode of AvGeek NewsWeek. This is the show where I present and discuss the latest news, highlights and exciting topics regarding the current week in aviation. The headline of the week concerns a very tragic story coming out of Russia. Fatal Saratov Airlines crash kills all on board. On the 11th of February, Saratov Flight 703 was operating like any normal day, but ended in the death of 65 passengers and 6 crew members. The nationalities of those on board were 69 Russians, including the 6 crew members, 1 Azerbaijani, and 1 Swiss. The Antonov AN-148 100B, a twin-engine regional jet equipped with Motorsich Ivchenko Progress D436-148 turbofans, with a range of 3,500 nautical miles, and configured to a capacity of 83 passengers, was en route from Moscow Domodedovo Airport to Orsk Airport when it crashed near the village of Argunovo, approximately 40 kilometers southeast of Domodedovo. The aircraft, registered RA61704, was built in the second quarter of 2010 and has been owned by IFC ever since. It was first delivered to Rossiya Airlines on the 21st of June 2010 until it was stored at St. Petersburg Pulkovo Airport from the 8th of April 2015. On the 8th of February 2017, Saratov Airlines subleased the aircraft from Rossiya Airlines as part of a lease contract totaling 6 Antonov 148 aircraft. Saratov Airlines have said that the aircraft completed a C-check in January, which covers inspection of wings, engines and airframe structures, while it had a valid service life until 2020. The remaining 5 AN-148 in Saratov's fleet have been grounded until further notice, while Russia's Interstate Aviation Committee investigate the cause of the crash. Information released by the Interstate Aviation Committee, after recovering and transferring data from the FDR and CVR black boxes, suggests that the pitot-static pressure sensors were not heated. The previous 15 flights recorded by the FDR show the pitot-static sensors heating turned on prior to each departure. Due to the conditions around Russia and especially on the day of the crash in Moscow, aircraft were required to have their pitot-static heating turned on prior to departure until touchdown at their destination to avoid any ice buildup in or on the pitot-static pressure sensors. The flight started developing problems 2.5 minutes after takeoff at an altitude of 1,300 meters with an indicated airspeed of 465 to 470 kilometers per hour. The pilot's air data module speed didn't match with the standby air data module speed, while the speed at the co-pilot's air data module is never recorded. At one point, after many indicated airspeed alerts in the cockpit, the pilots decided to switch off the autopilot as the indicated airspeed on the pilot's module was decreasing until it reached 0, where at the same point the standby module was reading 540 to 560 kilometers per hour. The standby module airspeed started to rapidly decrease to less than 200 kilometers per hour, and the aircraft was put into a 30 to 35 degrees nose pitch down. The airspeed then started rapidly increasing, and at the moment of impact, the airspeed on the standby module read approximately 800 kilometers per hour, while the pilot's module continued to read 0. Finally, the nose pitch down read 30 degrees and a right roll of 25 degrees upon impact. At this point of analysis in the uncompleted investigation, the Interstate Aviation Committee have concluded that ice buildup in or on the pitot-static pressure sensors due to the pitot-static heating being turned off is the most probable cause of the crash of Saratov Flight 703. For a more comprehensive report, please click the link in the description to the Interstate Aviation Committee report on their website, which is updated as they find new information. An update has been released since first recording the story. Saratov Airlines resumed service of its remaining AN-148s after completing in-depth technical checks. Saratov Airlines said all AN-148 operations will be conducted with a reinforced crew, which will include an instructor pilot. United Airlines 777-200 loses its number 2 engine cowling and leading edge. Thankfully, this flight did not end in tragedy, unlike the Saratov Airlines accident, and was able to land on runway 08 right at Honolulu Daniel K. Inouye International Airport after an engine cowling was stripped off on approach. The United Airlines Boeing 777-200, registered N773UA, was performing flight UA1175 on the 13th of February from San Francisco where it was ascending from 36,000 feet, and 30 minutes prior to landing a loud bang was reported, followed by the whole aircraft shaking. The aircraft is fitted with Pratt Whitney PW4077 turbofans, which have had other troubles lately regarding the PW1100G turbofans fitted to the A320neo family. The airframe itself was built in the latter half of 1994 and was the fourth Boeing 777 off the production line, and has been with its sole owner, United, since the 31st of January 1996. Photos after landing seem to suggest an uncontained engine failure occurred, as a few fan blades broke off in flight, which may have impacted and broke off the engine inlet's leading edge, followed by the engine's cowling. However, the engine was not shut down in flight by the pilots. The aircraft was towed to a hangar after the passengers deplaned, and NTSB investigators have been dispatched to Honolulu to figure out the cause of the incident. Emirates firms order for 20 additional A380s. The agreement firmed up a previous memorandum of understanding between Emirates Airline and Airbus Industry, and was signed at the World Government Summit held between the 10th and 13th of February by His Highness Sheikh Ahmed bin Zayed Al Maktoum, the Chairman and Chief Executive of Emirates Airline, and Mikhail Houari, Airbus President for Africa and Middle East. The contract includes 20 additional A380s, with a further 16 options to be confirmed at a later date. The total agreement for 36 aircraft is valued at $16 billion based on the latest list prices, with deliveries to start as early as 2020. In a statement by His Highness Sheikh Ahmed, this agreement underscores our commitment to the A380 program, providing stability to the A380 production line and supporting thousands of high-value jobs across the aviation supply chain. For Emirates, the A380 has been a successful aircraft for our customers, our operations, and our brand. We look forward to continue working with Airbus to further enhance the aircraft and onboard product. Airbus A321LR shows off transatlantic capability. On the 13th of February, Airbus successfully flew the A321LR test aircraft registered DAVZO from Paris Le Bourget Airport to New York JFK Airport as part of route proving for the aircraft before it entered service in late 2018. The flight departed Paris at 3:17 p.m, arriving in New York at 6 p.m. the same day, with a total flight time of 8 hours and 44 minutes. This is on the back of the manufacturer's first flight of the A321LR on the 31st of January, which I did go into detail on in the first episode. This transatlantic flight is part of the many flights that will make it 100 hours in order for the A321LR to receive its airworthiness certification. Pratt & Whitney issues worsen as ETOPS is withdrawn from PW1100G turbofans. An emergency airworthiness directive has been issued by the European Aviation Safety Agency, EASA for short, directed towards the Pratt Whitney PW1100G family of turbofans developed for the A320neo. The Emergency Airworthiness Directive effectively withdraws extended operations, ETOPS for short, certification for all affected engines with immediate effect, and prohibits operation of the A320neo and A321neo aircraft with 2 affected engines installed. EASA have said that several occurrences of engine in-flight shutdown and rejected takeoff, which is RTO for short, have been reported on certain A320neo family aircraft. While investigation is ongoing to determine the root cause, preliminary findings indicate that the affected engines, which have high pressure compressor aft hub modification embodied from the engine serial number P770450, are more susceptible to in-flight engine shutdown. EASA imposes the following restrictions with the Emergency Airworthiness Directive. Paragraph 1. Within 3 flight cycles from the effective date of this Airworthiness Directive, do not operate an airplane having 2 affected engines installed. Paragraph 2. Within 1 flight cycle from the effective date of this Airworthiness Directive, for an aeroplane having at least 1 effective engines installed, ETOPS operations are not allowed. Paragraph 3. Inserting a copy of this Airworthiness Directive in the ETOPS configuration, maintenance and procedures of concerned airplanes models, and thereafter operating that airplane on ETOPS accordingly is acceptable to comply with Paragraph 2 of this airworthiness directive. On the 13th of February, Pratt Whitney sent out a communication to operators stating the purpose of this communication is to inform the fleet about recent in-flight shutdown and aborted takeoff events and fleet management plan for aircraft equipped with engine serial numbers P770450 and above. Recently, 4 PW1100G-JM A320neo engines experienced in-service events which included 2 in-flight shutdowns and 2 aborted takeoffs. All 4 engines experienced a sudden increase in high rotor vibration and a stall. The engines from these events are confirmed to have similar damage in the high pressure compressor, specifically a fracture of the knife edges of the rear hub. The investigation of these events is focused on a configuration change incorporated in engine serial number P770450. An airline yet to receive A321 and A320neos is my national airline, Air New Zealand, who signed a contract with Pratt Whitney to supply the engines due to the partnership between the companies with a full MRO service at the Christchurch Engine Centre. One of the airlines forced to ground aircraft with affected engines is Indigo, who have removed 3 A320neos from service. This is part of a widespread problem as a total of 43 installed engines on 32 aircraft, of which 21 aircraft have 1 engine with the modified configuration and 11 have 2 engines with that configuration. In the meantime, Airbus is doing what it can to support Pratt Whitney to restart deliveries to airlines who have ordered the PW1100Gs as they have been put on hold. A successful 11 days the Boeing 737 team will never forget. It started on the 5th of February when Boeing debuted the first 737 MAX 7 at the Renton factory. The MAX 7 is the third type from the 737 MAX family to complete assembly of its first aircraft after the MAX 8 and MAX 9 respectively. Compared to its predecessor, which is the 737-700, the MAX 7 can fly 1,000 nautical miles further with a larger and heavier load, as well as 18% lower fuel costs per seat. Fitted exclusively with the CFMI LEAP 1B turbofans, giving the MAX 7 the ability to fly 3,850 nautical miles, which is 400 nautical miles further than the A319neo, and carrying up to 172 passengers, which is 12 more than the A319neo, with 7% lower operating costs per seat. The first MAX 7 will now undergo system checks, fueling, and engine runs on the flight line in Renton. The aircraft, the first of 2 MAX 7 flight test airplanes, will begin its flight test program in the coming weeks. The 737 MAX 7 is scheduled to enter service in 2019, following delivery to launch customer Southwest Airlines. The following day, the MAX 10 reached firm configuration, which means engineers now have all the design requirements in place for what will be the largest member of Boeing's single-aisle family. The 737 MAX 10 will use a stretched fuselage that is 66 inches longer than the 737 MAX 9, now moves into the detailed design phase prior to the start of production. The aircraft will carry up to 230 passengers, delivering 5% lower trip costs and 5% lower seat mile costs compared to its competition. The MAX 10 now has more than 416 orders and commitments from 18 airlines across the globe, with delivery scheduled to begin in the 2020 timeframe. Finally, on the 16th of February, Boeing announced that the 737 MAX 9 has received an amended type certificate from the FAA, officially certifying the aircraft for commercial service. This certification marks the culmination of a successful flight test program that began in March 2017 with 2 Boeing flight test airplanes. The FAA certification affirms that the airplane's handling, systems, and overall performance all comply with required aviation regulations. Boeing is now in the final stages of preparing the MAX 9 for first delivery to launch customer Lion Air Group. The 737 MAX 9 is designed for a capacity of up to 220 passengers and a maximum range of 3,550 nautical miles. With 3 additional seat rows compared to the MAX 8, this aircraft provides operators added capacity while maximizing profitability within their network. Spirit AeroSystems deliver 10,000th 737 fuselage. What you see on screen is the 10,000th 737 fuselage on a train leaving Spirit AeroSystems factory in Wichita, Kansas on the 13th of February. The intended recipient is Southwest Airlines, and the aircraft type will be the MAX 8. Once the aircraft is fully assembled in Renton, Washington, the 737 will become the first aircraft of the jet age to receive the 10,000th delivery milestone. This comes just after 50 years of service of the 737, when Lufthansa's first 737-100 entered service on the 10th of February 1968. Qantas reveal new indigenous livery. Coming out of the Boeing factory in Everett, Washington, Qantas released images of their latest indigenous livery, this time of a Boeing 787-9. The new livery features the work of the late Northern Territory Emily Kama Nungwore. It is based on her 1991 painting, Yam Dreaming, and has been adapted for the aircraft by leading indigenous-owned design studio Belaringi. The aircraft will also be named in her honour. The aircraft, registered VHZND, is set to be delivered to Qantas on the 2nd of March. However, it will be ferried directly from Seattle to Alice Springs, where it will be first welcomed by Emily's family. Once in service, this aircraft will be one of 2 Qantas aircraft wearing indigenous liveries at the same time, the other being a 737-800 named Menduwarji. A330-800neo rolls out of paint shop. The A330-800neo, Airbus's newest twin-engine widebody, was captured after painting had been completed in Toulouse on the 5th of February. The aircraft is expected to take its first test flight in mid-2018, which features the new Rolls-Royce Trent 7000 turbofans, which itself is based off the Trent 1010 architecture and the Trent XWB technology. The bypass ratio of the Trent 7000 engine is 10:1, and the engine architecture from front to rear is as follows: 1 fan, 1 planetary reduction gearbox, 8 intermediate pressure compressor stages, 5 high pressure compressor stages, 1 high pressure turbine stage, 1 intermediate pressure turbine stage, and 6 low pressure turbine stages. This provides the aircraft between 300 to 320 kilonewtons, or 67,000 to 72,000 pound force, which allows a 250-seater aircraft to travel up to 8,150 nautical miles. Currently, the maximum takeoff weight is rated at 242 tons, with Airbus having recently launched a 251-ton variant able to travel up to 7,500 nautical miles. The A330-800neo is the next stage of the popular A330-200, which is over 20 years old. The most visible new features of the A330 wings are the specially developed curved wingtip sharklets, which draw on A350 XWB technology, extending the wingspan to 64 meters, providing state-of-the-art aerodynamic characteristics. Air Senegal to start operations by April. Air Senegal has signed a firm order for 2 A330-900neo aircraft, following the Memorandum of Understanding signed in November 2017 at the Dubai Air Show. The agreement was signed in Dakar by Philippe Bon, the CEO of Air Senegal, and Fouad Attar, the head of commercial aircraft Airbus of Africa and Middle East, in the presence of the President of France, Emmanuel Macron, on a state visit to Senegal, and Macky Sall, the President of the Republic of Senegal. These A330neo aircraft will contribute to developing our medium and long-haul network. It is important for us to begin our commercial activities with aircraft that are both reliable and economical while offering our passengers unrivaled comfort. This order demonstrates our ambitions for this new airline, declared Philippe Bon, the CEO of Air Senegal. Now we head over to the route announcements. Links to all new routes containing additional information are linked in the description. The biggest announcement of the week concerns French B, formerly French Blue, opening reservations for San Francisco and Papeete. They will operate flights from Paris-Orly to Papeete via San Francisco commencing on the 11th of May, utilizing the Airbus A350-900 twice a week. The service will operate one extra flight between the 20th of June until the 2nd of November and between the 19th of December 2018 until the 13th of January 2019, but only on the Paris-Orly to San Francisco sector. Winair schedules new flights from St. Martin to Curacao once daily and St. Martin to Santo Domingo 5 times weekly. Both services will commence on the 26th of February, utilizing the ATR 42. Qantas announces Melbourne to Denpasar, commencing on the 23rd of June, utilizing the Boeing 737-800 once daily. SmartWings announces seasonal routes from Lyon to Rhodes, commencing on the 10th of June, Nantes to Varna, commencing on the 1st of May, Paris Charles de Gaulle to Rhodes, commencing on the 22nd of April, and Paris Charles de Gaulle to Tenerife South, commencing on the 7th of July to the 23rd of September. All of these services will utilize the Boeing 737-800 once weekly. Rwandair announces Kigali to Accra via Abuja commencing on the 15th of April, utilizing the Boeing 737-800 4 times weekly. However, they do not have local traffic rights on the Abuja to Accra sector. Also announced was Kigali to Cape Town via Harare, commencing on the 16th of May, utilizing the Bombardier CRJ-900 4 times weekly. Ukraine International announces Kharkiv to Milan Bergamo, commencing on the 27th of April, twice weekly, and Lviv to Barcelona El Prat, commencing on the 13th of October, once weekly. Both services will utilize the Boeing 737-800. Thank you for tuning in to the second episode of AvGeek NewsWeek. I apologize that it was not released on time. I'm hoping from episode 3 onwards that they will all be released on time. I appreciate all of the support on the first episode, and it shows me that you all want to see more of AvGeek NewsWeek. Once again, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.